Hello Year 12 and welcome to the lesson on adolescence. So this is your life stage. Let's get on with it. We're going to define adolescence, we're going to describe the changes in development in adolescence, and we're going to explain how adolescence affects the development of the self-concept. Okay, what is adolescence? Well, it's the name given to the period of transition between childhood and adulthood, so ages 9 to 18. Its main characteristics are the onset of puberty, a sudden increase in growth, changes to the self-concept, and changes to relationships with family and friends. Okay, what is meant by puberty? So puberty is the stage when the reproductive organs develop and mature. This is called the secondary characteristics. So primary characteristics are the reproductive organs you were born with, the way we know if you're a boy or a girl. And then during puberty, the secondary characteristics will develop, okay, to allow for reproduction to occur later. Now, so the main characteristics of puberty, you can have a look at the different key words at the bottom there, and you can try to put them into the correct column. If you want to pause the video now. If we have a look at our answers, we'll put them up here. We'll have a quick discussion here. Okay, so basically at puberty, there are the hormones that will be released, testosterone, mainly for the males, and estrogen and progesterone for the girls, okay? These hormones help to produce all the features that you will see here. Okay, so the main result is that the body is more able to reproduce, okay? So for the man, shoulders widen, there's a sudden growth spurt, facial hair, body hair, the voice will break, become a lot deeper. For the females, the hips will widen to allow birth to be easier. Again, there's the growth spurt, some body hair, and some change in the voice, though not as much as for men. Okay. Intellectual development. So we've looked at the physical development. Intellectually, there's a process called decentering. Adolescents can see things from other people's point of view. They are no longer egocentric, which means to see things just from your point of view. Right, have a look at this question and see if you can answer it at home. Graham is taller than Omar, and Philip is shorter than Omar, but taller than Sudeep. Who is tallest? Okay, pause the video if you want to have a go at that one. Now, the answer is Graham, or Graham. Adolescents, like yourself, should be able to work out the problem in your head, okay? A child would have to write this down. Now, this man, who we've encountered on previous videos, Piaget, he describes this stage in adolescence, the intellectual stage, as the formal operational stage, where adolescents are able to work out certain problems in their head. Now, if we have a quick recap, if we remember, during the infant stage, the infant is egocentric. They cannot sympathize, put themselves in someone else's shoe and see the world from their point of view. Object permanence comes in at about 18 months, where they begin to realize that just because an object is out of view, it doesn't cease to exist. The childhood stage, by Piaget, is called the pre-operational stage between the years 2 to 7. Children, they do not think in a logical way. They're still egocentric. They think objects and animals have the same emotions as humans. Between the years 7 to 11 is the concrete operational stage. They begin to see things from others' point of view. They do not fully understand logical arguments, though they're beginning to understand maybe easier ones that they can write down on a piece of paper and see quite clearly. So they do not fully understand logical arguments which are explained only, verbally, in words. But now, for the adolescent stage, it's called the formal operational stage, 11 plus. They can think in an abstract way and can solve problems in their heads without objects. understand logical arguments, okay? So the example I gave you, trying to work out who is the older of those different people, is an example of a skill an adolescent can do in their head. An adolescent will also begin to question their reality. They will compare the ideal world with what they experience. Now, because an adolescent is able to think things through a bit more, they're going to question, well, why is the world like this? Why is there so much injustice when the world could, in theory, be so much more peaceful, for example, yeah? Adolescents may experiment with different identities, okay? Trying to figure out what it is they're interested in. So they might look like this guy down here, this guy over here, or this guy over there. Okay, so they'll experiment with different ways of looking. And, you know, experiment with different activities they might want to get involved with. They'll also begin to think about future careers. Okay, right, mood swings are common for adolescents. Why? Because the hormones, testosterone for men and estrogen for women, these can, as well as produce the effects of puberty, the physical changes, they can also create moodiness and mood swings as well. Okay, social development. During this time, friends become more important than family. Okay, not absolutely more important, but compared definitely to in childhood, where the family, the mum and dad, probably a lot closer to the child. The child now turning into an adolescence would like to spend more time with people the same age as them. Okay. Who am I? Right. A central concern during adolescence is the search for identity. Here's a guy whose name is thankfully easy to remember. Erik Erikson said that this is a developmental period when a person has to resolve a conflict in his or her own life. In adolescence, many people find the tension between the internal forces of the self and the external forces of society is particularly high. Let's look at this example here. Here we have the mum and the daughter. The mum has brought up the daughter since she was a newly born child, okay? She has loved her. She has given her all the rules and the values that the mum would like the child to have. However, as the child gets older, becomes an adolescent, the adolescent, of course, begins to realize that they are unique. They are different. They have their own identity, which is not the same as their mum. Okay, they would like to express their identity. Maybe their values are different. Maybe what they want to do is not what their mum wants the child to do, okay, or the adolescent to do. So there is going to be this tension between the internal forces within the individual adolescent, and the external forces of society, which could start at the home itself. Your task, if you choose to accept it, is to try to put the different words below into the correct column. Pause the video and have a go. Here are the answers. Some of them you might find actually cross over more than one column, okay? Some of them, especially emotional and social, they tend to overlap quite a lot. Okay, let's have a look at a few questions, right? Now this one here, can you explain the term adolescence? Okay, that's the first one to do. And the second one, describe one physical, one social, and one emotional feature of adolescence. Pause the video and have a go at home. Okay, here's some answers. For the first one, adolescence, as you should know, is between childhood and early adulthood, between the years 9 to 18. Down here, for physical changes, you could have had like the widening of the shoulders or hips, development of body hair, voice breaking. For social, you could have had friends more important than family. Socially independent. For emotional, could be rebellious, you know, trying to rebel, fight against society. And moody. Okay. Examine the relationship between the development of self-concept and adolescence. Okay. So for this question, first mark, you would have to define what is meant by self-concept. Remember, it is the combination or the sum of the self-image and the self-esteem. Now, I would try to answer this question in terms of pies. okay, to help you at least break down your answer. If you're talking about the physical changes, remember that's going to be puberty. Now, as puberty arrives, the adolescent could begin to be touchy, sensitive, with rapid mood swings. Now, this links to emotional changes. But remember that puberty would link to a change in size and the development of the features for reproduction later on. So this could be a very sensitive time, and it could work to produce positive self-concept if you're developing quite quickly compared to your peers, or maybe a negative self-concept if you're not developing as quick as your peers, okay? Now, like we said, the testosterone or the estrogen, these hormones that are released, can be linked to rapid mood swings that can decrease your self-esteem, decrease your self-concept. Okay, so it might lead you to be rebellious, fight against society, against your people at home, and angry. Okay. Socially, friends replace family as the main source of support. Okay, so you can describe that and how that might affect you. So perhaps you now want to live up and show to your friends that you have a high status, that you are actually a decent person, that you're a good friend to have around, okay? And the ability to which you can do that could affect your self-concept. Okay, so there's different ideas here. As long as you explain what you're talking about and it makes sense, then you should do quite well here. Okay, so I'll leave this mark scheme up to give you some ideas. Here also you can pause the video to see exactly what's required for the higher level marks down there. Okay. Right, that's going to wrap up this video then. Adolescence. We've defined it, we've described the changes in development in adolescence, and we've explained how adolescence affects the development of the self-concept. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.